Yo, what's up YouTube? Firefist Chris here, and today I'm bringing you guys a pre-release tournament results. I did end up going 4-0 and was able to actually win the pre-release winner card, and also was able to, obviously, you're able to purchase a box as well. I am going to do some box openings coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. And I'm just going to go ahead and talk about how the event went, how I decided to actually draft for this event, for the cards I got. So first, obviously I decided to play Eustace Captain Kidd. Going into the event, it was either him or Zoro. Ultimately, I ended up picking Captain Kidd just because the ability of attacking twice was something I can guarantee every game. And for Zoro, it was just a little bit difficult because you're not guaranteed to have one drops. So a lot of times it just felt more useful for attacking for big numbers since people were going to have a lot of 2K counters. So it just kind of felt more useful in that way. So I'll go straight into what I actually played, and then I'll show you the remainder of the cards that I actually packed. So first, obviously, we have Eustace Captain Kidd, which if you don't know, obviously you can you restand him to attack again. So I'm going to go in order. This is the 2K counters I played. So we have 2 Surus and just used it for the 2K counter. Obviously, it's a good card in black, but in this type of format, you just need 2K counters. I only end up pulling 6 2K counters, so that's all I was able to play. Same thing with him, Mass Deuce, 2K counter, and I pulled 2 Mr. 2 Von Clays, another 2K counter. So those were my 2K counters for this deck. I wish obviously I could pull more, but it was really useful when I seen it. And next we have the blockers. So I have 1 Corazon, which obviously any 2 drop blockers were really necessary. 1 Domino, 1 Nekamushi, and 1 Mino Cola. So this was actually it. I only had 4 blockers. I was kind of hoping to have more, but this is all I have. Luckily, in the matchups, I did end up winning. I ended up seeing at least 1 or 2 of them. So it was really good, especially in a 40 card deck for a sealed format. It's really important having 2K counters as well as blockers. So next we'll have the event cards. I have 2 Abercurvy Brickfisk. And this card, you can return up to 1 character with a cost of 4 less to the owner's hand. So this was actually really useful because in this, barely anything has rush. So sending something that your opponent just spent 4 Dawn last turn that was expecting to attack the next turn can kind of guarantee you game a lot of times because they're pushed back another turn that they don't necessarily have. 1 Meteor Volcano. I ended up playing this just in case if they had a 1 drop. And I had Zuru. I can also pop a 3 drop. I actually never used the effect. However, I did get the trigger off one time to draw 2 cards and trash 1, which actually did end up helping me win the game to draw into a card I needed. So that was for those. And then the only defensive one I have was 3 Sword Style Onigiri. Never seen it, never got to play it, but I did run it just because it is a good counter. Next in order, we'll do the 1 drops. So I have 2 Camille, 1, 3. I ended up running 1 Witty Bay. This is really good because I was actually able to attack a blocker that was active, which is really useful because a lot of times they think they should just stay behind the blockers as well. So it gets over that. Then for the 2 drops, 1 Dobon, Doberman, 2 Doberman. And that was it for the 2 drops. I would have played more if I had more, but you know, fortunately that's what I got, so that's what I ended up playing. I did use this a couple times. The Smoker for the participating pack I did play, and I also did summon. His effect is useful because a lot of times in this type of format you want to keep things alive, so the fact that he couldn't die did help. Next, the other Smoker, which this one has a counter, this one doesn't. This card can't be KO'd by effects, and then when attacking, if there's a character with cost of 0, gains 2,000. I did end up playing this once. This I didn't get to see, however, this is a really good card if you're planning to play in a pre-release style. Same thing as the other thing. When this card battles and KOs an opponent's character, you can restand itself. So this in combination with Kid I felt like was very useful for either clearing board or just attacking life. I did pack one Vista. Unfortunately, I didn't get to use his ability at all. I ended up, the only time I seen it, I actually had to pitch this for a counter to stay alive for a turn. So obviously Vista is really useful. One Solitaire is 3/5. Two Usopp, same thing because it's 3/5. Next we have one Jaguar D Sol. And Sol, I did summon it one time. It's just a good beat stick. Next we have one Atomas, one Gecko Moria, and these are the 4/6s that have no effect. These are just the standard ones. I played one Shiryu, which does have a good effect on play. You can minus a Dawn and then KO an opponent's character with a cost of 1 or less. So this was Zero. I had the same thought process where I can use this. I actually did end up packing 2 Yamatos. Only was able to use the ability once, but it was really helpful. Doesn't have a counter, but this is just such a strong card. And I am planning to play green for this format. So you'll just stay tuned for a deck list for a Kinemon deck as well. One Magellan, didn't see it. The only time, actually I did see it one time. The only time it was actually useful is to pitch it for a kid to be able to get a double attack. But it's just a beater. We have King Drew and Frankie for the 5/7 drops. I did not see either one of them as well, or at least on board. Thatch, I did use this. Actually helped me win a game. Mihawk, same thing. One of the MVPs was actually Little Oars. A 7-bodied 9 attack is just really useful. I had this in a Corazon, and it's kind of forces them to put a lot of down to get over it. And you really can't, because then you have a blocker, and then next turn I attacked with this, and then the kid deck as well. And last card was Ivanka. Only used the ability one time, and when I did, it actually did help me out from drawing 2 cards, because I was down to 1 card left. Oh, well, actually, 1 card left besides Ivanka. And that was it for the deck I played for this pre-release. All in all, the kid was the MVP, just being able to attack twice. I'll just go through very shortly the rest of the cards I packed. I actually packed a lot of leader cards I wasn't expecting. Unfortunately, I didn't pack Sanji. Otherwise, I think I would have played it over Kid, but thankfully I did end up playing a Kid. I had gotten 1 Kinemon, 1 Smoker, and 1 Z. So obviously all great leaders. Another 1 drop. We have Zoro, Tashigi. I thought this had blocker, but this just gives something blocker. I didn't end up running this. You probably could run this. It's not the worst card, but just in general, just like what I had over that. Here we have Whitebeard's card, the 1 drops, another Whitebeard card, Django. I could have played this just because I had the 2 Yamatos, so I guess technically I could have played it. I didn't think I was going to be able to see that in a 40 card deck. Hydra, we have Law, Impel Down, Venom Road, Dogura, and we'll go through the rest of these here now. Deathwing. I did think about playing this. I opted not to. I'd rather just have the other one be able to summon a 3 cost that's a common. That would have been really useful. Helmelpo, Rokuyu. I thought about running these. Sphinx, and Morley. So these are the extra cards that I had packed for the event. I decided not to run. So that was it. That was the deck profile for at least what helped me win. The Smoker Leader, which was the pre-release card. Obviously, it's a nice looking card. And then as for matchups, we'll just go through it really quickly. So I went 4-0. I ended up playing 3 Zoros and 1 Kid. So round 1, I actually ended up playing against Zoro. And for that matchup, I went first. So it was helpful not letting Zoro go first. And it ended up just being, it was kind of just more of a sweep. I had the Smoker out, and it was just able to maintain board presence with the Smoker that he couldn't get over. Unfortunately for him, he just wasn't drawing anything to be able to get it over it. And then I had Kid attack each turn twice to just get rid of hand. And then once it got to the late game, I still had like 4 life. And he was down to 1, so that was game. Round 2, I went against another Zoro, And against that Zoro matchup, that one went a little bit longer, but it ended up being the same thing where I had an established board with little ores, and he put too much Dawn to try to get rid of it. I ended up blocking out of it, kept the little ores, and then next game was able to kill him for his last 2 life. The round after that, I believe that's when I actually played against Kid. So this Kid mirror match was a little bit more difficult because I ended up going second. I didn't have the best hand starting out. However, the one time I did see the Yamato actually help me because he ended up having Borsalino on the field, which is a strong blocker to have. So I was able to rest the Borsalino, attack a big attack into it. He actually ended up countering out of it, and then I restood the Kid to attack over it again. And then from there, he was just top decking, and I was able to win that game. And then the last round was against Zoro. And for that matchup, it actually came down to, I ended up going first for that matchup, thankfully, and ended up going down to the wire. I actually had just enough Dawn to escape the last attack. So I had 1 Dawn, and then next turn, that would have been game. I attacked for 12 with Kid, and then he ended up blocking it, and that was his last blocker, and he only had 2 cards in hand. I restood the Kid again and attacked for 12, and that was game. So all in all, it was a good pre-release tournament. Like I said, I will be uploading a booster box unboxing as well here either tomorrow or the next day. And for me to you guys, Firefist Chris, out. Peace.